Also, another big change. I'm not prepared because I just stopped record. I just finished recording. But another big change. I'll put this at the beginning of the video. Another big change is that when I summarize this particular story, I won't write the script beforehand. Instead, I'll just go over the story from the top of my head, and then afterwards I'll write the script. Okay, now back to the video.
Bonjour amigos, welcome, and this is Blitz Boy HD.
A Life is Strange fanfiction, written by a 14-year-old. What could possibly go wrong? Hello to everybody watching. This is my second story discussion in my high school writing series. If you want to know what that is, check out my video here. And if you'd like to read this story yourself, I'll leave a link to that in the description. Before we begin discussing this story, let's go over a couple of disclaimers. Going forward, I am assuming that you are familiar with the original Life is Strange. First, I mentioned that it was written by a 14-year-old. That's kind of not true. I started writing it back when I was 14, but intermittently worked on it for the next 5 years. That being said, I tried to keep as much of the original ideas that I had for the story, and believe me, there are moments in the series when you will think to yourself, yep, this was definitely the idea of a 14-year-old. Secondly, the format. It's a screenplay-ish format. I don't know, this was my first time writing a full screenplay, so it's definitely a learning experience. One thing I really struggled with was the filler dialogue. So there are times when I just took the dialogue from the original game and just copy-pasted it into the screenplay. Also, I don't get why they didn't bother to go over screenplays in school. Actually, let me just stop myself before I go on about that for an hour. Thirdly, the characters. Remember, I began writing this back in high school, and some of the characters were based more on my friends than on the actual characters from the game. Now that, combined with the fact that I took the dialogue from the game, it means that they are going to be very inconsistent from time to time. And speaking of inconsistent, the tone as well. The tone as well is very inconsistent because at the different times I was writing, I had very different moods. So it's all over the place. Last thing before we move on, this is not a professional work. Rather, it's a personal work that I wrote in a way so as to fulfill the wishes of my younger self. Lastly, before we actually begin, let's discuss the format as far as the segments are concerned. The story is split into 18 parts, for no particular reason, but this summary will not be like that. Instead, I'll probably go over roughly 2 parts in each video, except the first and the last, which will just be 1. So, there should be 10 parts in total, going over 18 parts of story. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. Let's get to the story. Also, to a very special viewer of mine, I know you're excited. Okay, if you're proud of the story, give me a high five.